Okay, so, I'm just going to go in depth with this one. So, man, one of the schemes that they'll try to do to you is, and when I say they, I mean like it could be an organized crime, it could be a cult, it could be like any like narcissist. It's a narcissist trap is what it is. But and it's a spiritual trap, but it's physical too because they end up killing you. They end up trying to take your life. So basically okay, there's the life insurance policy one, right? So they try to get a life insurance policy taken out on you and then try to get you killed so that they can cash in on this life insurance policy. Okay, so that's just base level, right? That's like whatever. You could probably see that coming from a mile away. But the ones that you kind of don't see coming are, and this one is like pretty smart. It's pretty clever. So listen to this. So they'll get you in and start going, bro, we have problems with this other group, or like I have a problem with this other person. And it might be real. Could be real. Probably is. And you'll be like, okay, so this is our team. And then they'll be like, yeah, this is our team. But then what you don't realize is that nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows you. And so what happens is that now you're coming into the picture and they try to make you feel like $1 million because they're going to be like, bro, look at this guy. Yo, he's fresh and stuff. Yo, because they're trying to make a lot of noise to get a spotlight onto you. And so what ends up happening is that you end up becoming the top op of this other group that you have no idea, like you don't know what's actually going on. And then your friend that's closest to you calls them and goes, yeah, bro, this guy, he's messing up. He's messing up. And then they end up okay, so through you becoming their top op, now they're going to be like 50 grand on his head. I'll put 30 grand, 20 grand, depending on how much you did, or like whatever the case may be. Then your so-called friends are going to be like, yo, he's messing up. He's messing up. He's not giving us money anymore. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. As soon as you become a problem, because they don't really want someone else who's going to be hype, better than they are, right? They can't have that, right? Like I'm the best. I'm number one because it's narcissism. And so what ends up happening is that as this bounty's on your head, your own friends are the ones who call in and say, bro, take him out. And I want the 50K. But and so do you see what I'm saying? But the thing is though, is that they literally created you to become and tricked you into this like group in order for you to get a bounty put onto your head. And then they're the ones who snitch you out and then get you whacked. And then they get money out of it. And so how does this tie in with witchcraft? How does this tie in with all this? Well, because this is the same spirit that operates, that drives a person to put a candle on an altar with a picture of you off of your Facebook, off of your Instagram, off of your whatever the case may be. And they put a red candle and then a picture of you on it. And then they start saying these weird chants. And look, you might not believe that that's real. You might not believe that that's a real thing, right? But they do. And that's what makes them dangerous. It's because you might not think that when you're listening to these rappers say, I sold my soul, and then their best friend gets killed or like something like that, or some close family member to them gets killed and then they become successful. You might think, oh, it's marketing. That's some kind of propaganda, right? Any publicity is good publicity. That's one of the statements that managers and all those people like to say. But the thing is they believe that it is real. So that puts everyone around them in danger because you have a mentally ill individual who believes that they're going to be rewarded by, And so this is what I mean. And then this is where you get someone like Charles Manson or John Ramirez and, or I don't know if it's John Ramirez, but the Satanic Panic guy in the 80s. Or in the 60s, whatever, right? So, who was like a serial killer. And and he was a satanic guy. But anyways, all this is little fish. This is all little fish. The real the actual real, like, the actual real plotting and scheming, where all these conspiracy theory people come out of the woodworks and everyone has their own theory, right? It's Freemasons. It's Freemasonry. Because I have personally been in combat against Freemasons twice in open field kind of stuff. And I've literally seen them. I had on one occasion, and it wasn't just them. They were intermingled with this other coven, and it was run by this 50-year-old woman. And it's a shame, because I pray for this. I pray for that girl to this day. Even though she was trying to kill me and stuff, but I forgive her. Life gets complicated, and then and the only reason she was doing that is because she felt like she was trapped. Because to someone on the outside, you might be like, dude, you're all mentally ill. But here's the thing, right? Is that these people, they literally will sit in a group and then they'll make like a spirit pact with someone who's like more advanced than they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they almost like an apprenticeship. Like, I'm going to be underneath you and I'm going to study off of you and we're going to team up because my magic's too weak. Or they got preyed on and they said, well, you're just going to work for me, or I'm just going to take you out with my magic. And then people go, no. Or because most of the time people say, I don't believe, like, bro, take a hike, right? Like, now you're threatening me and stuff, until your family starts get like, car accident or, random illness, a lot of health attacks. That's usually what they go for. That's their favorite thing, is to make people sick, because you'll usually see it in a couple days. That's how witches and warlocks love to do their stuff. Another one is psychosis. So they try to make you go nuts. They try to make you go crazy. But yeah, so if I'm going to go back into the open field, like, what does that look like when you're fighting? Am I talking about, yeah, we pulled up and we started duking it out? No. But it feels like it. But what it really is that, as a Christian, we don't attack. Like, we don't offend. Like, we don't fight offensively. It's more so we have to endure these attacks, but then God strikes them down. And so literally you're just waiting for God to lose patience with these people. And God strikes them hard, dude. By the time they get struck, they're out of the fight. Because some of these people are really sick. You know what I mean? They're really sick, and God doesn't want to do that to nobody. He doesn't. But when they put spells to make your kids die, and they're sick people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that these are people going out physically committing a crime. Some of them are. But the majority of it is just people who have this desire to see you suffer. And it's because something traumatic happened to them in their own life that, they feel like, why do you get to be happy? Why did this messed up thing have to happen to me? But then you get to go on with your life like nothing happened. Or like, you get to be rich. You get to have money. You get to be happy. You get to have a beautiful wife. You get to have a beautiful or handsome husband. You get to have, these nice things in life. And, but it's really, they're just lazy. The truth is they're lazy. They don't want to work. They want you to work and then let them take all the resources. They want the money. They want all this, and then they want the recognition, but they didn't even work. These people get destroyed. And I say amen, man, but I do pray for these people, because at the end of the day, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We fight against principalities and evil in high places, and that, it's inside of people. It's inside of people. And I think a lot of people, man, and I totally went off course from talking about the Masons. But, it's already wartime for me, right? Like, this is what I mean. Like, it's already wartime. And so I'm not afraid to say some of this stuff. And so here we go. So when we talk about, or when I'm talking about, a Masonic lodge, what am I talking about? Every Freemasonic lodge in the country, every Freemasonic lodge in the world? No. I'm saying just like how there's like just certain neighborhoods that are just really bad, really crime ridden. It's the same way with a lodge, because the only prerequisite is having a belief in God. But God is a title. Like, there's a reason I say Jesus Christ and not just God. It's because, money could be your God. Like someone's God could be lust, or it could be, greed, or anything like that. Like, you could insert any other name, but for me, there's only one God, and it's Jesus Christ. And it's proven through combat that I've been in. Physical and spiritual combat. I know it for truth. And so I'm not afraid to get up and start saying it. Saying what I know to be true. Not what I believe, it's what I know to be true. What I believe is that I'm saved. Do you see what I'm saying? And so anyways, yeah, and I also want to say this too, like I had to edit some stuff out. I want to say this too. You'll notice with witches, and I learned this because I saw eyes switch twice. But okay, so with witches, or psychics or mediums, like whoever, they're always wearing sunglasses. You'll always notice that they're wearing sunglasses. And the reason why they're wearing sunglasses or just not looking you in the eyes and stuff is because from time to time you'll see what I talked about in a previous video. You'll literally see the slit inside of their eye. Like their eye will change in front of you, and you'll be like it's almost like it's the same feeling you get when you walk in a room and you catch someone stealing. And then you go like that, and you kind of just like you know what I mean? You don't want to confront them, but you don't kind of whatever. That's the same reaction you have. It's like your body's predator recognition response. Like that's what it is because your body recognizes a threat. And I think what it is, if you ask me, I think what it is it could just be narcissism, because they're like a parasite that preys on their own species. And I think as like in groups through times, like, the Bible talks about it too. There's people who treat their own people worse than they treat a stranger. And that's most of us, but some people it's magnified. Prime examples, Adolf Hitler was probably the worst to Germans than he was to anybody else. Like we say he's worse to the Jews, but I mean, man, like those were Germans. Half of them were Germans. The other ones were other ones that he tried to find later on. But Germans. Next one, Joseph Stalin, right? In Russia, killed hundreds of millions of his own people. Mao Zedong was a communist leader inside of China. Hundreds of millions also of his own people. And this is what I mean, these dictators, these kings, and these like people who want control over your life. They're the ones who do the most damage. Not some foreign army that pulls up. It's always the devil right? Like most I don't want to get censored, so maybe I shouldn't say the word, but most like unalives is someone It's someone that's going to try to come and take you out. Very rarely is it a stranger. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, it's stuff like this that, we don't really think about. But it's the truth. And the thing is like, we also, So anyways, I'm going to try to keep it. But this whole topic is just about combat. and my experience in it, from what I've learned and things that I've survived, things I've seen, stuff like that, man. And, you know, I think some people might see this and they'll be like, well, Bryce, like, bro, like, you're not saying names, like, you're not saying anything like that, bro. But, you know, wouldn't you kind of say that, bro? Like, that's a snitch. Like, isn't that kind of rat, bro? Like, isn't that kind of snitch? Well, I want to say this. Because I've thought about that, and that's why I hesitated for a long time. But then I thought about this. I'm in wartime right now. And I've chosen Jesus Christ. And I'm a servant of God. And I wasn't giving any game for a long time. And they still came. And I still haven't said a name. Listen, my bet on who wins this one is on Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Straight up. I've seen him. I'm going to be honest, I'm not afraid. Not afraid. And they know that. And they should be scared. And they should be worried. Because the thing is, it isn't the police that I go and cry to like some of their friends. It's Jesus Christ. It's God. That's who I rely on. That's who I trust. That's who I place my bet on. And I put all my eggs in that one basket, and it's in Jesus Christ's hands. Because I'm his servant. And I fall short, and I humble myself, and I repent because I am a sinner, and I have done some horrible stuff. But you know what, dude? You know, I forgive all these people, you know, that got tricked. Because half of the people that pursue me don't want to. They don't want to. It's the head of the snake that threatens all these other people that he'll come for them if they don't come for me. And I'm still alive. So glory to Jesus Christ of Nazareth. That's what I say. And so if it's wartime, then, you know, it's battleship. So, you know, that's what I have to say about it.